So good morning and welcome to our fourth class in the series on the chakras. Today we're going to be talking about the heart chakra. So let's just all find our place, whether you want to start seated or you might choose to do this opening lying down. Whatever your choice is. We will be using a strap for today's class. So if you have a strap or a scarf, works really well in place of a strap or a towel. Have something handy nearby. And then just finding your seat where your hips can be a little higher than your knees. So your spine has a nice long area to extend. If your knees are lifted, you might put a pillow or blankets under your knees just so that you're not using your muscles to hold your legs up. And then wherever you are, allowing your eyes to close or have a gentle gaze down at the floor. Your chin might be tilted in towards your chest. And just noticing here how you're arriving this morning. Notice anything that's still hanging on about your to-do list for the day or how you slept last night. Try to let that go now to arrive fully in this moment. Bringing your attention to your breath, noticing where your breath is landing in your body this morning. And as you bring your attention to the breath, it just can't help but to change it slightly. You might notice that you begin to take more full breaths. Maybe you can feel the breath expanding along your shoulder blades and the back side of your body. Inviting the breath into the back ribs. And even way down into the low back. Sometimes we forget that our heart expands in all directions, not just out in front of us, what we can see, and the people who are right in front of us. But our heart, the energy field of our heart also expands to the sides and the back, to the earth and to the sky. Bringing your attention towards the back of your body, you might even feel pulled back in space a tiny bit. So often we lean forward into our days, and then our whole spine is, our muscles are having to work to hold our spine in this forward position. But if we allow ourselves to gently ease back, you might find that your head and shoulders align over your hips in a more comfortable, easeful way. Your belly can relax. So the focus of our class today is on the area of the heart, the fourth chakra in the series of 7 chakras working their way up the center energy channel. This fourth chakra, Anahata Chakra, is the element of air, which makes sense because the lungs are in this part of the body anatomically, the heart and the lungs, the ribs. And the purpose here of exploring the heart chakra is to expand our capacity for love and connection and expansiveness, and to decrease our association with our ego. It's the ego that keeps us separate and isolated. It's the ego that causes us to be judgmental towards ourselves or others. So when we're have our energy flowing effortlessly through our heart chakra, we feel balanced in terms of being joyful, generous, and that feeling of being radiant, which you may most often tap into that feeling in nature when you're able to slow down and connect with the beauty around you. And then the ego is not there in that moment. So the trust to feel our own radiance can be more fully experienced. So our goal is to bring those moments of connection and trusting in our own radiance into more parts of our day, not just during the beautiful walk on the beach or the walk in the woods, but even while doing the dishes or in a conversation with a friend or family member. So as we move into our practice this morning, I invite you to make it your own practice. It's part of the trusting in your radiance, is to know when there's a pose or a moment where you just need to linger longer or to come out and try something different. That's part of our practice this morning. So bringing right hand to the heart and left hand over the right, bowing our heads towards our heart. Take a moment now to set an intention for our practice this morning. Maybe an intention that you carry with you for your day or the days ahead. And allowing your hands to release towards your side. Begin now to just move through your own experience of opening your neck, whether that's rolling your chin and ear from shoulder to shoulder, slowing the movement down enough so that you really begin to notice the tight spots. Lingering there, inviting breath, maybe inviting a little movement. So like when my right ear is near my right shoulder, if I roll my left shoulder, that starts to get into different parts of opening the left side of my neck. just make the movement organic and just right for you in this moment. It might be that you're begin to explore more movement in your shoulders. This becomes more about the shoulders, and the neck opening in the neck is along for the ride. So that as we like start to move the shoulders, we don't forget about the neck, but we're also exploring there, like, oh, what does it feel like to move my gaze in this direction while I'm opening in my shoulders. If you're looking for a little more guidance here, let's come into a side bend to the left. Bring some opening into the right shoulder. And one fun thing to do in exploring the heart chakra is imagine that right hand, those right fingertips are like the top of a clamshell. And you're going to, on an exhale, you're going to close up your clam. So your right hand comes towards your left knee, collapsing here. You're feeling the stretch along the right ribs, right shoulder blade. Your gaze might look underneath your left armpit. And then on an inhale, opening up your clamshell. Your heart is looking towards the sky, the sun, letting in the sun, and then exhale, collapse. This is like, if we could, this would be probably if somebody said, do your yoga pose for the pandemic. I might be like in the collapse form and then just like longing for connection and longing for opportunities to have my heart open, that like back and forth. Or maybe my yoga pose would just be curled up in the fetal position. So let's move this. If you're following along, we'll move the side bend to the opposite side, whatever side you haven't done yet. So bringing in some of those big shoulder circles. Really kind of thinking about this whole area of the heart. We sometimes just think about our anatomical heart is in that one spot in our chest. But if you think about this whole area, the ribs and the shoulders. Let's inhale with the arm extended and exhale, come into your closed clam, gaze looks under the right armpit, feeling that stretch along the left side of the ribs. Inhale, opening, shining towards the sun. Exhale, collapse. Inhale, open. And then let's inhale, both arms lift towards the sky, rolling out the wrists, wiggling the fingertips, shaking out the wrists here. And then stretch, like you could pull some of that sun. It's such a nice, it looks like it's a sunny day in Ohio. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Maine. Inhaling, really stretching up tall. Exhale, we'll twist to the right. Left hand can come to the right thigh, right fingertips on the floor behind you. Inhaling at center. Exhale, twist, gaze first looks over the right shoulder. And then as if the gaze could sweep in a straight line across the horizon, maybe your gaze begins to move, looking over towards the left shoulder, feeling the alignment of your spine, even as you're in this double twist. And then inhaling, arms release, gaze moves to the center, looking up towards the sun. Exhale, twisting to the right hand to left thigh. Inhaling, straight and tall at center. Exhale, softening in the belly, allowing the twist to move more deeply into the torso, gaze might look over towards the left shoulder. And then gaze follows the horizon line. Any amount towards looking to the right, maybe their range of motion only goes so far. And exhale, let's lift the arms again towards the sky. And then hands to the side. We'll move now towards a puppy pose. So moving your props out of the way. If you like to pad your mat with a blanket, we're going to be doing some poses on our knees. So if you know that that's a good choice for your knees, might do that now. Having your strap towards the front of your mat. And we'll come right away into a puppy pose. So if you're not familiar with puppy pose, if you are familiar with puppy pose, you can go right there. If you're not, you might just want to look at this alignment. Hips right, stay over knees. So toes can be curled under or on the floor, but arms are going to walk out onto fingertips. And it's a challenge here to find the right position for the hands to lower the chest towards the floor without sending the hips back towards the feet. So it's a little bit of a dance. And the idea is to begin to feel an opening near the sternum. If your forehead is not reaching the floor, you might pull a pillow or a block in to catch your forehead. If this is a really intense, come back it out and find a place to lower that you begin to feel this opening in the front of the ribs, the chest, the armpits. And breathe. Where's your breath here? Listening to your body, knowing when it's time to come out of the pose. And slowly walking the fingertips back so that hands are under shoulders. Let's take a few rounds of cat and cow. So the shoulder blades extend towards the ceiling as the back rounds and chin drops into cat pose. And then inhaling, belly drops. Chin lifts, gaze lifts, cow pose. Just moving here through your cat and cow flow. Maybe adding some circling movement here. Hips drop back into child's pose. And then torso scoots through the hands back into cow pose. Inhaling, cat. Exhaling, child. Lingering anywhere that you're called here, maybe adding some circling of the hips, just warming things up. Feeling into what would feel just right in your body right now. Let's bring that movement to stillness and move the left hand under the sternum on the mat. If you're having any problems in your wrists, any sensitivity in your wrists, you could come onto a fist here. That would help protect the wrist. And we'll inhale, the right arm lifts towards the sky. And exhale, thread the needle. Right arm moves underneath the left, bringing that right shoulder towards the floor any amount. Maybe your side, the right side of your head comes to the floor. And then your choice what you want to do with the left hand. Maybe the fingertips walk out straight towards the top of your mat. Maybe that left hand wants to lift towards the sky, making some circles with the wrist. Feeling, what does it feel like to invite the hips back towards the right? Just a tiny bit. Can you feel a little more traction coming into that right shoulder? Are you remembering to breathe here? Wiggling the right fingertips. Taking the time to let the breath do the work. Getting into the fascia and the connective tissues in your shoulders. Staying here if you need more time, or bringing some weight into your left fingertips as you slowly come back, lifting the right arm towards the sky. Add some circling here. And then right hand comes up to the mat right below the sternum, either fist or fingertips. We'll inhale that left arm towards the ceiling, rolling out the wrist of the left hand, and then exhale, threading the needle. Left arm comes underneath the right hand, left shoulder comes to the floor. Noticing difference from side to side here. If you need to bring your head, bring the floor closer to you, maybe pull in a pillow or a blanket here. Notice if your hips have moved slightly to the right, can you invite them back to the left for a little more traction here in this shoulder opener? Where's the breath? Exploring the hand positioning of the left hand that works for you in this pose on this side. Bringing some movement to those right fingertips. Let's all take an inhale through the nose and exhale with a sigh out the mouth. Do that one more time. And then left fingertips walk back, coming close to the face. Sorry, right fingertips, I'm on the other side. And then we're gonna unroll, left arm reaches back up towards the ceiling. And then left hand comes back to the floor. That's taking my socks off, getting ready for downward dog. Anything you need to do for getting ready for some standing postures here. So we'll curl the toes under, coming into downward dog, lifting the hips on an inhale, walking out the heels one leg at a time, inviting this movement into the backs of the legs. Let's open the hips a little bit here. We'll bring the right foot into this towards the center of the mat, and inhale, lifting the left leg towards the sky. Let's make some big circles. Can bend the left knee, making some big circles in the hip in both directions, lubricating that hip joint. Maybe that left foot extends and then knee bends again, feeling the left foot drop any amount to the right side, keeping the weight between both hands, not letting everything pour into that right arm. And then inhale, left foot moves towards center. Exhale, left foot comes towards the center of your mat. We'll inhale here, right foot lifts, bringing some movement, circling out the hip on the right side. That right knee can be bent. Your circles can be big or small. And then right leg extends long, and then right knee bends, right foot falls towards the left any amount, but notice where the weight goes in your hands. Can you keep your weight centered and invite that foot towards the right for a big opening across the right hip? And then inhale, right foot comes to the floor. Let's walk our feet towards our hands, coming up towards the top of the mat. Allowing your feet to come nice and wide here. Let's just take our hands into a ragdoll, arms crossed at the elbows, and then swaying from right to left. Maybe bringing a bend in the knee. So as I sway towards the right, my left knee bends. Swaying towards the left, my right knee bends. Just move organically here. What would feel just right in this first forward bend? Releasing the arms. Let's come up in a very heavy, the fingertips. Feel the gravity pulling fingertips and head towards the floor as you begin to very slowly stack one vertebrae over the next. Where your arms hang heavy, head hangs heavy as you come slowly, slowly into standing. Head is the last thing to lift. And then let's shake it all out here. Let's shake out arms and legs, feet and ankles. Right hand comes to the heart, left hand on top of right. We'll move into some heart twists here. So feet are about hips width distance or slightly wider, knees are bent. We're going to inhale and left arm moves out to the left as I come up onto my right toes. And then exhale, right hand moves to the right. The gaze follows the hands. So inhaling left, exhaling right. You can make this movement as slow and Tai Chi-like as you want, or it could be faster and more like invigorating. So what are you called for this morning? We're inhaling to the left and exhaling to the right. Imagining here that you're both bringing your heart out into the world, and you're also bringing pure, loving heart energy back into yourself. And then next time, left hand comes to the heart, right hand will land on top of the left, pausing here to feel your own strong, wise heart. Bringing to mind an intention you may have set for the start of class. And then with your left hand sitting right on your heart and the right hand on top of the left, we'll begin this twist to the opposite side. So we'll inhale, right arm moves to the right. And then exhale, left arm moves to the left. Gaze follows the hand. This is a really nice practice because it brings us so in touch with the present moment. It's pretty cool to like watch your hand move in space. There's not room for the lists and the judging mind here. So inhaling right, exhaling left. And then coming back, right hand on the heart, left hand over the right, pausing here. Just noticing any sensations. Any colors or patterns or words that pop into your consciousness here from your receiving from your energy field, not from your thinking mind. And then let's move towards the front of our mats, setting up for a sun salutation here. So feel it, really feeling yourself grounded in your feet, feeling the four corners of your feet, really extending into the mat and imagining into the earth, sending roots down into the earth, feeling that strength work its way up your legs. So strong ankles, arches are lifted, strength moves up into your knees and hips, nice little bend in the knees. And then strong core, shoulders lift towards the ears and then settle down their tracks on the back so that you're not like pulling your shoulder blades together, but there's a real engagement of shoulders on back, which helps us engage our core. Fingertips are alive. Head over shoulders. Little smile on the lips. We'll inhale, arms lift towards the sky, the bend in the knees, pivoting at the hips. Exhale, hands to the shins or floor. Inhale to halfway lift with a flat back. And exhale, left foot steps back. Left knee comes down to the mat. And we'll begin right here in some organic movement into the hips, rocking back and forth in a lunge. So really taking care of that back knee, patting it if you need. You can let yourself really drop that left hip forward to feel into the stretch in the front of the left hip here. Maybe your movements get to be so big that as you exhale and move back, you can pull the right toes off the floor, feeling into a bit of a runner's lunge here. And then let's just lay the right toes back onto the floor with a straight right leg, feeling that stretch across the top of the right ankle. Jen had us do this in yoga class last week. I was like, whoa, hi front of my foot. And then next time that you're rocked forward and right knee is over the right ankle, let's plant the left fingertips and inhale, twisting, opening that right hand moves towards the ceiling for a twist, feeling that opening in the front of the left hip, and also noticing your heart putting itself out there in the world. Exhale, right hand comes to the floor. I'm going to lift that left knee and step the right foot back into plank pose. Pausing here in plank pose, noticing how the core is engaging, bringing your knees to the floor if this is too much on the shoulders or wrists. And then moving through your chaturanga. So we can bring knees to the floor and then slowly allow the torso to come down, elbows towards the ribs, hands by the chest, feet, tops of the feet click into the floor as we inhale into your low cobra. And then exhale, toes curl under, downward dog. Taking a few breaths here in downward dog. We're going to move now into coming to knees back on the floor. Practicing here with a camel pose. So coming up onto your knees. Toes can be curled under. Let's first, so camel pose, just in case you're not totally used to this, we're just going to be working on opening the shoulder blades through a back bend here. So we'll start by modifying, we'll just inhale, arms lift, reaching through the fingertips towards the sky, and exhale, hands come to the low back. So we'll point our fingertips down towards our buttocks here, supporting our low back. So this here, feeling your heart moving out into the world. You can do that motion of shoulder blades sliding down the tracks in your back right here too, but notice if your ribs start to jut out. Can you invite your ribs back in alignment? Inviting your ribs back in asks your core to engage. So you can stay here. If you have farther to go to explore your camel pose, you might invite one hand to the heel. Just see how that feels. Maybe the other hand comes to the heel. Heart opening here, receiving pure, kind energy into your heart, and also sharing that with the world. Inviting the breath right into the belly, into the sternum area, hips moving forward here, strong legs. Inhale, right hand comes to the low back, left hand, and moving now into your version of a child's pose. So toes together, knees apart, hips come back to heels, settling yourself into child's pose. Arms can be extended here or down by the sides. Inhaling, coming back to your knees. We'll curl the toes under, lifting the hips into downward dog, walking the heels out again here. And then inhale, left foot reaches towards the sky. Exhale, left foot steps to between the hands. The right knee comes to the floor. And we'll begin our flow here, organic movement in this lunge position with the left leg forward. So rocking back and forth, feeling into that opening. Maybe when the left leg extends to straight, you pull the left toes forward. And then left toes move towards the ground, feeling that opening in the front of the left foot. Rocking back into your lunge, maybe really feeling the hips drop here for a big opening in that right hip flexor. And then left knee moves over the left ankle, right fingertips move towards the outside of the right side of the mat. Left hand comes to left knee, and then we'll inhale, twisting open to the left, left fingertips reach towards the sky. Feeling if you're collapsing into your hips here, can you engage your core, engage through the root chakra to lift the hips? And in lifting the hips, can you find more room to twist and expand on this left side? So the core engagement here gives you more range of motion and is safer in your hips. So exhale, we'll bring that left hand back to the floor. Right toes curl under, lifting the right knee off the floor. Step that right foot up to meet the left. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And if your strap is handy here, grab your strap as you inhale, lifting your arms overhead. Exhale, hands come to the side. Pausing here. Noticing any swaying or movement your body is calling for here. And then with a strap or a scarf handy, we're going to move into some shoulder openers. So taking your strap in both hands, standing comfortably with your feet about hip width distance apart or a little wider. We're going to take some time to explore what's just the right hand positioning here. So we're going to inhale and arms move overhead, and then just see what your range of motion is, moving your hands maybe behind your head any amount, and then exhale. This time, hold your strap a little wider in your hands. We'll inhale, arms lift overhead. How much range of motion do you have behind your head here? So noticing here if your ribs are poking out, pulling your ribs in towards your spine, exhale. So we're just going to keep going in this motion until you find the distance, maybe keep going a little wider, that you might be. Now this is, take good care here because I know everybody here has some shoulder issues. Can you let your hands slide wide on your mat, on your strap, really wide so that you can bring your hands down and back. So my hands are like this wide now on my strap in order to do that. But you may not have that range of motion, and that's okay, because that's just what's going on in your body. So this can be big, intense movement. So take your time to go slowly and to breathe, right? Thinking less here about the tight muscles and more about where's your heart in space right now. How's your heart showing up here? Does your heart feel supported? Do you need to make this motion smaller to be safer for your heart and your body? Can you make it time this motion with your breath so you're really feeling the inhale, filling your heart and your lungs, your shoulders at the height of the movement, and then exhale, letting it all go, either down with the strap behind you or in front of you. And then let's let the strap go the next time and shake it out. Shake out those shoulders, shake out the wrists. Shake out the hips. Shoulders are intense, and we were talking about this in my yoga class on Monday night. You know how dogs shake after they've been in an intense, like, the interaction, they shake, and because they're shaking off that energy, they're like, oh, whoa, that was intense, and they shake it all up. We don't do that, right? We have these intense interactions, and then we're like, I'm still driving, or I'm typing, or I'm talking on the phone, and we hold it all in. So what do you need to do to shake that out? Like, whenever you have a minute during the day in the bathroom or whatever, who cares, right? Just shake it out. So we're actually getting right towards the end of class now. So I'm going to invite you back down to lying down on your mats, and invite you into whatever position closing. I want to have some time for Shavasana. So whatever closing position is calling to you right now, maybe it's happy baby or a twist. Maybe it's just lying in reclined cobbler pose. This is an invitation, if as you're getting set up, you have some pillows or bolsters to set up for I'll just show you, if you can see my screen, one nice setup for Shavasana is having a long pillow, maybe like a couch pillow, something a little more stiff, or a couple of blankets set up lengthwise on your mat, and then just a folded blanket at the end there. And then I'm going to sit with my hips pulled right up to the end of the bolster and lay back with my head being supported on that blanket. So maybe takes a minute to figure out where your hips want to be in space here. You can walk your feet wide and have your knees knocked in towards each other, and then hands come in a comfortable position at your sides. This is a nice heart opening, reclined, restorative pose. Or take your Shavasana any way you'd like it, with a bolster under your hips, or perhaps lying on your belly, or your legs up the wall. Noticing what it feels like to go from shaking it all out, like we were just doing, to now becoming very still and quiet. Let your brain relax. Let the muscles of your eyes relax. Your jaw. Allow yourself to be held by the earth. allowing some movement to come back into your fingers and toes. Feeling your breath in your body. Taking your time, not rushing. Allow yourself to roll onto one side. Let your gaze remain soft. And take note here. What does it feel like to begin to move from this experience of deep rest back into a more engaged way of being in the world? What can you hold and carry with you from this experience? Taking in these words by Courtney Walsh. Dear human, you've got it all wrong. You didn't come here to master unconditional love. That is where you came from and where you'll return. You came here to learn personal love, universal love, messy love, sweaty love, crazy love, broken love, whole love, infused with divinity, lived through the grace of stumbling, demonstrated through the beauty of messing up often. You didn't come here to be perfect. You already are. You came here to be gorgeously human, flawed and fabulous, and then to rise again into remembering. But unconditional love, stop telling that story. Love and truth doesn't need any other adjectives. It doesn't require modifiers. It doesn't require the condition of perfection. It only asks that you show up and do your best, that you stay present and feel fully, that you shine and fly and laugh and cry and hurt and heal and fall and get back up and play and work and live and die as you. It's enough. It's plenty. Bringing hands to heart center, allowing your thumbs to first touch your forehead and then your heart. The light within me bows deeply to the light within each of you. Namaste. Thank you.